All right. I think we're live now. Well, not quite yet. Yep. All right, we're live.
I can't see the YouTube comments, but you can out.
Yeah, here I'll
What's
share
up,
the
guys?
I'll share it with you.
How do you share there?
Should be right.
I mean, I can just go to the feed, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Man, I don't know if I know how to do that. Let's see. Nine watching live now.
Yeah, you can get the comments now.
Yeah, let me move this to another screen. So we got Ryan in here? Cool, or GDAPS?
Figured we can kind of just start maybe talking about is this a bear market? Maybe it's not. Lower prices are probably a good thing. I think people don't see this turning around anytime soon, and I think we can see that pretty
Yeah,
quickly.
I mean, I guess we just talk markets real quick
Mhm.
first, because obviously the Fed just raised. So this was kind of expected, guys. I mean, BTC, actually kind of annoyed. I stepped off the desk and we actually held what 6,100. I didn't quite get that low. 6,150. We'll get back to that. I mean, the big thing right now is we get more of the same dollar strength here. Euros coming off. Um, I didn't see how stocks can't really figure out what they want to make of this. Hasn't moved at all. Gold pretty sideways. But I mean, if you look across different pairs, dollar lira just took off. I'm a little bit long there. Really starting to move up. I still like dollar long versus lira. We're a little bit short euro versus the dollar. Euro pound. Pretty mixed. That's probably because cable's coming off also. So cable just got rocked. Dragon should be coming off too. Came off a little bit. Dollar CAD's exploded. Wow. Any of you guys involved in other markets here? I mean, I know everybody loves crypto, but if you're gonna be a real trader, you got to kind of know what's going on in the world. This is the biggest thing going on right now.
I
Is
think I think
dollar
you
up.
you kind of got to get used to it because as soon as there's market cap, more people get involved. It's going to be more correlated.
Yeah, that's true for sure. That's true for sure. Um, well, so what I'm gonna do once we can start talking crypto, here's my plan now. Anytime you get a big wall like this, I mean, usually after payrolls or after the ECB, anytime you get a big binary event, meaning just basically you have a number, a Fed speaker, whatever. But I kind of let the price action settle in, and then I try to play a wider range of the chart over less size. So if it's intraday, when there's not a lot of volatility, I can get heavier on a dip like this because I know my range is probably going to be tighter. When you have a big Fed event, or pick your scenario, and the market can whip around. I mean, you could be we were down here, we were back up here, we were back down. So it pays to play smaller size over a wider range of the chart, and then you have to be more patient. You can get aggressive here and then play for a quick pop. But when this stuff starts to widen out, guys, you really got to kind of. I mean, if I buy something well here, I got to be willing to buy here. I might even have to be willing to buy even lower lows. Same thing on the upside. But once you establish what I call a wall, and we can come in here and you can go with the power. So once the wall is established, that's showing you, I mean, anything can happen, but the point is right now the bears are in control. So any type of rally I get back up this wall, it's going to be really difficult for the bulls to take out and knock down this entire wall. It's just the probability, the odds of that happening are really low. So as we come back up here, I'm going to fade that. I'm going to fade this move. You can see it on the 1 minute. So I guess while we're talking crypto, that's kind of what my plan is. I already sold a little bit down here on this first drop. I mean, I've been core short euro, so I just added to it. And I'm actually going to let this, let's see where the 5 minute cycle is. 5 minute cycle, you guys see, is pretty low. So I'm going to let this come back up, and then I'll start to fade it while we're talking. That's kind of what I'm watching. Alec, did you want to lead off with anything else?
No, I mean, that looks like a pretty textbook trade you're looking at there. Yeah. I mean, I think we just run through the majors real quick.
All right, let's talk. Actually, if you guys don't mind, let me just talk futures real quick. So since we've had, what's up, Kevin? Since we've had CBOE and CME came out with futures, we've really been in a bear market. I mean, I guess the long term still bullish, but the only data that we have in futures has been nothing but bearish. So, I mean, I don't get into the conspiracy stuff that the institutional guys are trying to push the market around. The market's a lot bigger than that, but it just is what it is. So we've had lower highs here, we've had lower highs here, and now we had lower highs, and then we got kind of a near term lower high right there, which may kind of coincide with the 30. But we can also see the big picture higher time frame, the several year bull market, the levels that the longer term trend should hold are all right down here. So you're kind of really pressing if you want to be short into these lows. I mean, if you're small short and you're playing for a break of 6,000, okay, I get that. But we could just as easily rip right out of here. So we were a little bit short at the top here. I just covered all my short on Sunday on this gap down. And now I'm leaning a little bit long. And my plan is I pretty much used up all my cash on the cash side of the market. So any of the portfolios I have, like across different exchanges or, however you're holding your cash portfolio, hopefully mostly in cold storage. But point is that I've used up that cash for the most part. I'm already long. I'm making a stand at these levels. But then the future stuff, the buying power I have in there, I've been short, and then I'm waiting to buy my BTC at 6 all the way down to 5,000 is kind of where I want to make my stand there. And the reason being is because we got intraday lows here at 58.80. But a lot of times I think you'll see the market move to where the most pain is. So if we start to run the stops below here, I think that's pretty natural. And then you're going to see a lot of panic covering. And I kind of want to be a buyer into all those stops and then see if we can come back off those lows if that happens. I mean, if we break 5,000, then you're going to have to play defense. But that's kind of my plan right now. So the cash and stuff I have on the cash side, I've been using to buy some alts and or Litecoin. Bought some Monero today. And then everything that we've been making on the short side now, I'm looking to use that buying power to go long futures via BTC. It's obviously getting long the overall market. But that's what I wanted to say on the future side. If that makes sense.
No, it does. I don't get why people are betting for breaking that 6 and not preparing for the fact that if it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean I like
too obvious
people.
There.
Yeah, I mean people say that and then they don't really ever back it up with their reasoning. So, I mean, I can't tell you how many times you see markets make they say, oh, well, I don't know. I just try to tune into what some people are saying out there. There's traders that have very little experience that have bigger subscribers on YouTube than us. And I don't know. I guess maybe they do a better job marketing, but just because you double bottom and you retest something for the third time, there's no magical number in, we tested this area 2 times, so the third time it'll break. I've seen markets make 5 equidistant lows. I mean, that's just a range bottom. It's spacing. There's plenty of reasons why we could hold here. The way to play it is to be long or small short in case it breaks and you're going to have a nice little windfall. But I'd rather be a buyer here until it breaks. I mean, to call for a break when you haven't even broken doesn't even make any sense. I mean, we were buyers here, we added more here.
Well, I can see people that are trying to make a call like that, because if they're right, then they're able to promote themselves as someone that I called it to the number,
Right.
like, all right.
Right.
And if it doesn't, oh, well, it's up now. Who cares?
Right. And some of these guys, they don't even explain why they're using certain things on their charts. They have a count of 8 or a count of 9 or count of 13. I don't know if they're using Tom to mark. So nobody really explains their process. I can just tell you from a time perspective in our model, we talked about the cycle may or may not bottom here into the 20th. But that's the next major turning point. The fact that we made made a higher low with this turn means that the market should cycle lower into the next turning point. So we still have a whole week for that to play out. Maybe whether that coincides with the hold of 6, or like we talked about, a break to 5 and then a hold, or you could absolutely break 5 with the benchmark, and then we could go even lower into the following benchmark. Just is what it is. You got to kind of put price and time together. Intraday, it hasn't been that exciting, really. Might cover some euros here. You got Mitch. Mitch is calling for a bottom. All right, Mitch, how come? What are you thinking? You guys gotta give me some reasons why when you make your big call. You gotta watch stocks here in the 2,800. That's all I care about in equities.
What have you been doing all day in the markets? Just been buying up? I think you're buying up some salt earlier.
In crypto?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we put out to our subscribers. I flipped back over to the chart. I won't say all our buys, but there's a couple names that we liked back in April. We're just going back to the same thing. And I think if you look at some of these spreads, we can just talk about one of them. On the last drop, there was a buy order of 1,500 BTC on Kraken. That's pretty good. It's tough to say, man. I mean, I've been trying to get orders done over the counter for 100,000 Bitcoin. 100,000 Bitcoin. $900 million. So that's the tough part, guys, about if you look at that market profile, or, hey, there was orders down here last time. There can be any amount of size can come in from anywhere. I mean, That's even in the most developed markets, it just means very little. I mean, most of these platforms, they'll hide size. It doesn't take much for a few or several players to come in and move the whole market. I mean, it's just, there's no really way to know looking at the bid offer if you're looking at the stack.
Yeah, which is again why I'm surprised to hear so many people negatively talk that, it's going to be here for another year or two in this range. It's going to break 6. It's going to be down here for, another year or two when, like you just said, one guy can come here, buy it up, and it'll take a week or two of green and everyone will be rushing right back in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's bullish that if Alec, if you think you're hearing the majority are talking that way.
I think without a doubt. I mean, some of these online forums and feeds, they're just a ghost town. And the people that are there are just like, all right, well, I've been here for the last 4 or 5 years. So,
well, I think there are some of these spreads that are blowing out. Yeah, so like salt's ridiculously overdone on the downside. Talked about it. I mean, I don't know if the market tries to overthink stuff or people hanker on. I mean, they've been talking about that loan program for a while. I don't even understand it. At 27.5, what is it? You could stake your coins, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, they're only lending to a certain amount of people anyway. So I don't know. I doubt that those guys didn't think through that entire so-called program. I don't think that's the bulk of their business. When you look at their social, they're trying to hire 20 people in Denver. I mean, there's no reason to think they go out of business. So the thing with the trading a pair like Salt is they had a 700 million market cap. The companies that are trying to actually make money in the space and probably have a model or a business they are actually bringing in revenue, whether it's bottom line. But the point is, most of the stuff in this space, they don't even have $1 in revenue. So these guys are closer to actually doing real world business. And the fact that, they have, they're doing this type of work, and then the market wants to take it down to $1. So we went from 700 million to their market cap's like 70 million now. And it's tough to say. I mean, it's tough to value. Can't really value this stuff the same way we would in equity because there's a whole ecosystem. Obviously, if they're 5 years from now, if these guys are lending who knows, maybe they're doing 100 billion in loans. I mean, what is that worth? The token will be used a lot more than just like an equity as a stake in the company. So it's hard to really, but you can relatively, on a relative value basis, when the market was bullish, I mean, these guys were 10 times, they were trading 10 times where it was today. So I like looking at stuff longer term when it's down, it's 1/10 of what it was. But anyway, when you take a bigger project or a bigger coin like this and you back it up near zero and you take in the fact that where it's come from, that really matters, right? So everything's relative. So when I get a coin that's gone from here to here, that's different than like Cardano going from 35 cents to 15 cents. I mean, this is a significant move towards zero. And so the amount of distance that you have, let me hide this junk. You can see it a little bit better on the daily. But the distance you have to zero, relatively speaking, from where the highs are, is very small amount of risk. And so as long as you know, okay, from here to zero, I'm willing to lose X amount. But even if this company decides to fold and they don't want to do business anymore as a token, I don't know what that. We haven't really seen that in the space where a token just decides, a project just decides, well, we're not going to do business anymore. whoever's the big holders of those tokens are going to do something. They're going to say, we're going to roll it into this project, or I don't think it just liquidates and goes to zero. But the point is that even if this gets close to zero, it's not going to take much for the market to turn up, and every other coin, as it trades with the market, the same way that stocks tend to trade with the market, you're going to have some amazing percent gains as you bounce around zero. So I think if you know the floor is at zero, even from here, I mean, I've been scaling in, but from here, you can get heavy over, like, even if you only did it in 2 lots, you could get pretty heavy and have an average real close to zero. And there's 50, 100%, 150% gains off just ebbing and flowing around zero that I think this token can easily do.
Yeah. I think this is a time where you got to load up on all the quality projects that are, actually going to last in this next run up. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right, Alec. And the key will be trying to hold some of the stuff that you buy well. It's easy to buy stuff well, and then it goes 200-300%, and you kind of forget about it and you go to the next coin. But the key will be try to keep a core position, because I mean, I think we could trade back to these levels. I think Bitcoin goes back to the highs. I mean, you probably will see salt back up at these levels. Anything can happen. I'm just saying there's really good risk reward here, and you know where the floor is. I don't really have, even on a coin like Monero, that's gone from what, guys, like 400 to basically trading at par. You still have another 100 points till I know where the absolute floor is, and you got to trade that completely different than when you take me from here all the way to the floor. I mean, I know how it's nice when you learn how to work a position, that you know how to hit, know how to scale in and hit your size right with the right cycle, maybe use a couple other techniques when price gets to the right spot, and you can get really aggressive, get your average nice and tight, nice and low, and that's how you get these. It's not going to take much to give a 50%, 100% rally. And the further this collapses, the more, the higher the probability of just a really nice bounce. But it's tricky. We don't typically like buying lower lows. It's a different type of trading. But when I know where the floor is, it's much easier to go contrarian, because you can plan your trade a little bit easier. Here you're buying lower lows. I mean, I'm not going to talk about buying lower lows all the way to zero up here, but it's a different story now that we're down there. We got Powell on the tape.
Mm-hmm. I think that can happen quicker than people think too. I mean, when you travel back, like a year and a half, and Bitcoin was selling at $700.
Yeah.
Just over a year ago, and we're disappointed it's at 6,000.
Yep. I know. And we've had some good feedback on the sentiment perspective, right? Some of the guys in the room were saying that all these guys that chased all their retail sentiment, 16, 17, 18, 19,000, now they're all deciding they're going to throw in the towel, because they're like, well, I'm still up like 30% from my original buy at like 2,000. I'm covering some euros here, guys. This is pretty good push down here. Sell the next bounce back here towards the 8. Is
Bitcoin the only futures you trade right now? I know BitMEX has Ethereum, I think Cardano futures.
Yeah, I haven't done anything with BitMEX. You have to have a VPN to do that. US side, I don't know.
I'm not too sure. I haven't looked into it. Either. It would be nice to short some of these coins, though. I think they added EOS recently too.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. What's everyone else trading? You want to just look at maybe Ethereum, Bitcoin, Cash, some of the majors?
Mitch, how do you look at the, you mean, oh, you're talking about look at the blockchain data?
Yeah, and like the 1,000 counts, or what is it? Most Bitcoin's owned by 100 accounts. Yeah, but most of those are still exchanges. It's hard to get a really good representation. Yeah, it's still like nothing though, because there's just so few people involved in crypto still.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, we're talking all big picture stuff here in crypto. I'm just looking at FX because it actually moves. Dragon's coming off here a little bit. God, I want to fade this Euro Kiwi. I'm trying to be patient. You guys see the Euro Kiwis kind of coming back up here. This is a pair we've liked. This has good carry on the short side. But I've been waiting to put more back out. We're testing these highs right here. It'll be kind of interesting. Kiwi's really getting, if you guys don't know, Kiwi is just the sling or the FX nickname for New Zealand dollar. So it's actually making a lower high. It's really getting crushed here. It's part of the why this pair is going up. They're actually absolutely crushing this. I guess I'll sell a little bit of Euro Kiwi here. I like being short the Euro and then long New Zealand dollar. But you got to trade a little bit because the dollar's so strong that even Kiwi is getting sold off versus the dollar. Everything's king dollar right now is really the name of the game. This looks like this is going to go a lot lower, big picture. So we'll see. I just sold a little bit right now, and then I won't give it much room above here. I'll probably take that off if we don't get a little bit of a bounce. But I'll play for a little bit of a dead cat bounce here. I'm not long Kiwi versus the dollar. Only versus the euro here. So we'll see if we continue to drop here further, then I'm actually going to start to get long. I'll get long Kiwi versus the dollar over here in this chart for a bounce. And then this is just a core piece or what we call a longer term piece that I just put out. And I'll give that a little bit of room. But I just sold right into the high there. See if that backs off. It's a pretty good spot. Sorry, guys. I'm just a little distracted. I mean, FX is kind of really whipping around.
Yeah, and everyone just wants to keep talking about that Twitter news from the New York Times, which it's not even news, but I guess they just recently reported on it. So
yeah, I mean,
I think it's kind of what we've always known, that some of that is, to the point, but people are just selling the news at this point. It's not really news.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how much does New York Times really put out on crypto?
Yeah, exactly.
Not
Let
that
alone
much,
any
right?
other publication.
So that's kind of interesting to me. Either cryptos, in their consciousness, or New York Times is so freaking political that they want to try to push it around. I mean,
Well, I just can't wait for
it's establishment.
these other stable coins to actually start gaining some volume so people can stop using that excuse to sell.
Yeah. We just need the market to develop more. So what we were talking about this morning, we still have this debate on why we shouldn't price things in dollars or tether. And to me, it's so obvious. Like, you guys, we got to really understand that. How many of you are fully invested right now? You have zero more cash to put into crypto. And so it pains you when the market goes lower. I bet that's probably half of the traders out there, right? If you're sitting on $10 million in cash right now, do you want the market to go lower or do you want the market to go higher? But as soon as you're fully invested, you want the market to go up, right? So if you think about that, what is the value of my BTC when BTC has gone down? What's the percent drop this week? What's the percent drop this week?
Not too sure. What is it, 17?
I mean, when are we going to start the week at? The 6th? Or Sunday? Let's just start
like 16 or 18, but yeah.
Okay. 16, 17. Okay. So if all you want to do is pile up Bitcoin, the 17% drop in a week that's not holding on to your purchasing power. My dollar buys the same amount as it did last week, as it did the month before, as it did 3 months ago. So if you're actually trading these rallies, when you're trading around your position, if you're taking some off the table at the top of the cycle, when the market's getting kind of high after a pretty good run, if you're trimming your position, you're adding and you're reducing. And if you're raising dollars, and this doesn't really matter, this could be Ethereum, right? Let's just say this is Ethereum. If I sell my Ethereum and then I go, I'm just going to go to BTC, your BTC just collapsed by 50%. How does that help you buy more Ethereum down here when you could buy twice the amount of Ethereum as you could a month ago? If you trade to dollars, which is money, BTC is not money. You got the assets on one side, money on the other side. But if my asset goes up, I sell the asset, some of it, doesn't have to sell all of it, of course. And then as my asset falls, the purchasing power of my money is rising on a relative value basis. Now I can buy twice the amount or more from when I sold up here. Well, if you just move to BTC and your BTC drops, you're not in a position to take advantage of any of the stuff that's on sale. You can't buy salt at $1 in front of $1. You can't buy your Cardano 50% cheaper. Everything is, I think that's the fallacy that people are failing to realize, is that you got to price the assets in dollars. I mean, the whole point of what we're doing here is to increase your assets as they rise, time it, and then sell it. And it brings you more money. And then on the next cycle, you can buy whatever assets cheap again, whether it's bonds or commodities. But there's a huge advantage to having cash in your crypto portfolio. If you just want to be I don't know, what's the word, Alec? Anti the legacy system. Mm-hmm. No fiat, no dollars. Bitcoin's going to overtake the world. You're just missing the whole point of, the FX risk, and you don't really understand the difference between money and the asset relationship.
I don't think you're understanding Bitcoin either, if you think that's the end goal. Completely just overtaking everything.
Yeah, that's kind of like picking one horse. It's kind of hard to do. I mean, there's times where it makes sense to swap to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's cheap and something really rallies, then it's obvious. You can chart it in BTC, it sticks out. Then yeah, I mean, if you get to levels you like in Bitcoin, that's fine. But I've just been saying that if you have cash, it's so obvious when the market trades off and every single coin is down. You wish there's times where I feel it too. It's like I get too aggressive too early. I don't have as much cash as I want. And then there's a lot of coins that, man, I could be really bringing my average down. I could be buying a lot more stuff that I like, but you only have so much buying power. So, and that's something that's kind of a little bit of a struggle on the bigger picture moves too. I mean, we were selling here. I sold on December 16th, which was the day before the intraday high. And to try to remember to sit on it cash for the longer term cycles kind of pays off. Just like, anyway, I don't know. We've talked about that so much, kind of like beating a dead horse. But today is a good example of you either want an inverse coin that you could be long that goes up while everything else is crashing, or you really see the value of sitting in dollars because everything's 50% cheaper than it was a week ago. So sitting in dollars is the best trade.
Yeah, or if you're able to play the other side of the market too.
Yeah, right. If you could be short via futures or, the BitMEX stuff. Or, like we talked about, an inverse coin would have a huge freaking value in this market. I mean, I don't want to just outperform BTC versus altcoins. What happens when they both go down? The correlation in both of those is getting crushed. You want to protect your capital and then be around and try to outperform the bull markets. I mean, trying to it depends on how you measure your wealth, I guess.
I might have to look at opening a BitMEX account. I think their CEO is pretty interesting. He's got some pretty interesting talks. I'll have to check out that podcast.
Oh, they have a podcast? Winnie, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand what he means.
It's hot here.
What are some coins you guys are picking up? Some smaller cap coins. I've been trying to figure out a few decent ones to pick up all the way down here. Well, you want to outperform Bitcoin with your altcoins? Well, I don't know. You can hold both, right? I don't know if you have to really outperform it. I think you just don't want to be involved with it at all, pretty much. Just treat it like any other coin instead of the base they're using for relative value, right?
Well, you just want your assets to increase. That's kind of the name of the game.
And you just see Bitcoin as another asset, not something you're trying to outperform. It's just another asset.
Right. And it's a timing thing. I mean, guys, what if Bitcoin goes sideways for 3 years and Ethereum goes 10x? The guy that's long Ethereum, does he win, or the guy that's long Bitcoin?
Yeah.
So it's not a matter of trying to choose who's going to be there at the end. It's kind of like you just got to go with what's performing. But I'm just saying that in these markets, when they go sideways to down, you got to realize the value of having dollars, because that's what we're pricing this stuff in. if we keep giving ourselves the illusion that Bitcoin is money, you're going to have these same weeks where you're down 20%. That's not holding up the value of the purchasing power of the money when your assets going down the same amount. You're not going to have any more purchasing power. You want to, the timing ideas, if the market is high within the cycle or if it's breaking trend, if the asset's going down, you're better off being short or in cash. And then when the cycle turns, you have the cash to buy twice the amount, 3 times the amount of the asset for when it's time for the asset to rise again. The same people that make the same arguments for gold. Oh, gold's blah, blah, blah. It's the only real money, blah, 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 blah. Gold isn't money right now. There's a time when gold used to be money, but that was before we took it off the gold standard. Now it's an asset. Gold used to be, this is assets, this is money. They're on different sides of the equation. There was a time when gold was over here on the asset side. No, sorry, gold is on the asset side. It used to be on the money side. But then when we took it off, it was no longer pegged. It floats just like any other asset. So it rises when the assets rise, and it'll fall when the purchasing power of the dollar rises. So if gold sits around and goes sideways to down, you're not increasing. We don't price things. You don't price your house in gold. I mean, maybe that it might change one day. Maybe we do price things in BTC, but that's not the way of the monetary system set up right now. Five's 30s curve.
Yeah, I don't know how he had Nano free money. I don't know. I'm pretty surprised how low Nano's gotten. It's almost back to zero, pretty much.
You know?
Yeah.
You guys want to look at Ethereum Classic too? Well, you get a little bit of a bottom tail showing up down here. That kind of sticks out to me, guys. A lot of times at the end of a long move, if you get a bottoming tail, that's kind of sticks out, actually. It doesn't mean you got to rush in and buy it, but that's kind of a bottoming sign. Yeah, this is just one that's been going to lower lows. We talked about it the other day. I mean, you're getting pretty close to zero. So it's going to be tough for this coin on a relative value basis to go all the way to zero, but you're still making lower lows. So when you're trading lower lows, it's just tough. You got to be patient. You got to stop making lower lows first. That's part of the bottoming process. And then when you start to make higher highs, that's when you want to be aggressive. And that one's just, we talked about that one a lot. I've been thinking Ethereum Classic. I mean, you can trade it. I think you buy Ether. I'd rather buy Ethereum when the market's down.
Yeah, I'm surprised Coinbase added Ethereum Classic. Maybe because they can already support Ethereum, so they just figured why not list it. But other than that, I don't see why they would.
Well, that doesn't make sense to me either.
I don't even think they have a single developer anymore.
Yeah, they're just getting left behind. I think the easier way to play this one, I mean, there's times where you can trade it. I mean, there's times where I think it has a great value to mine. It has these nice runs. But when you get the whole market down hard, I'd rather be buying Ethereum. And then when you get the market up, I mean, talk about a nice hedge. Like if you get Ethereum Classic, overbought, oh, I would rather be long Ethereum and I'll short Ethereum Classic versus my Ethereum. That's like a great pairs trade right there. I just think the upside, I'd rather be long Ethereum. And then when you get really overbought, Ethereum's Classic's pretty much a short to me. So that's how I would play it. Buy Ethereum now. Next time we get Ethereum Classic up to 22, 20, 25, short some Ethereum Classic versus your Ethereum long. And then just play the spread between the two. But I mean, it's back on the lows just like everything else. So directionally, yeah, I mean, I'd rather be a buyer here. I wouldn't be selling in front of $10. The zone is 13 to 15 to be a buyer. But I'd rather buy Ethereum outright. They have a good roadmap. Or are you talking about IOTA? Oh boy, Ripple. I think I have some Ripple that I just put away and I don't know. It doesn't even move. IOTA, I mean, Ripple's oversold. IOTA. Since we know that Bitcoin's down, guys, if you want to look at some of these alts versus BTC, you can see if they really stick out. I mean, if you get an altcoin that you like, I mean, yeah, buy it when it's really oversold, even versus Bitcoin. If you get Bitcoin that's oversold, and then you get your altcoin when you're looking at BTC versus your altcoin, and it's even more oversold, that's telling you that's an opportunity. It looks pretty good right here. I like IOTA down here. I didn't buy any. It was a small core long, but Alec, do you know SRN? What are those guys?
Which one? SRN? No, I'm not. I don't know who that is.
ICX keeps coming up. Danny, you're doing something with the euro here? Oh, thanks for bringing that up, buddy. You're right. Covered on the low down there. I'm going to reshort. You guys want to see what he's seeing real quick? Yeah, that's a good call, Dan. The Kiwi got a little bit of a bounce. Talked about. Euro Kiwi is not really coming off though. So euro versus the dollar. I just talked about that wall. So I'm guessing this is what Dan's talking about. If he's
set up just like you said earlier.
Yeah, if he's exactly. So if he's, that might be the Dan that's been in our live room. Right about halfway, guys. So you don't want to chase the lows here. We never want to short lower lows. This is a brand new low relative to here. And after the market, I'm going to sell a little bit more right here too. After you get these, that's what happens on Fed days like this. You get these big wide swings back and forth. And oftentimes you will get these 100% retraces. So what I mean by 100% retraces, this is the top, this is the start of post, right? The rate hike. So you get to move down, and now this is 100% retrace almost all the way back up. But the odds are, once you get back halfway, that's where you want to come and start feeding into a short. I draw it as a triangle to kind of do it on a scale. And then my risk is up here. Oh, we'll see. And I definitely reshorted some. Could do the same thing here on Kiwi. Sold a high there. It's trying to come off. trying to come off a little bit. Wow, dollar lira just got smoked on the 1 minute. Adult Swim right now. So Powell's obviously jawboning the market around, whether he means to or not. ARDR BTC.
The same method you're using right here to short the euro. We were doing that all the way up to that the whole run up and fall. Every pullback, we were looking for about a halfway back, and just kept adding and adding.
Yeah. First smartphone on the blockchain. Which RSI am I supposed to look at? I lost you there. Winning again. I would just say here, I mean, we're taking out the low. I really hate that color. Taking out the low. I don't know if this is really that meaningful first day of trading. Again, I mean, I don't know. The floor is not that far away, so you could time this up over a couple long-term buys, and you got pretty good risk reward. I mean, here's your reward, here's your risk. It's just kind of tough. You got to be a little bit patient when you're making lower lows. I don't really like buying constantly lower lows. You're really close to zero. So that's what's kind of interesting, I guess, about that one. Your risk reward's getting really nice there. On the 4 weeks, I don't chart the 4-week chart. 4 week. ICX.
Yeah, that name keeps popping up and up. Everyone's been asking about ICX.
Yeah. Hey, Jordan on Tron. I don't really trade that one that much. We could look at it though. ICX. I like that it's back near these lows. I like it. Daily cycle is low. It looks good. I like it. It's, a lot of these are going to be some good opportunity where the market is down here. And you got to get back above 280, $3, and then you'll be making higher highs again. Harder. Euro's not coming off just yet. Let's see if it takes a run at a new high.
Yeah, not much movement today around here. I've just been adding up to a few of these lower cap. I mean, it's pretty much all you can do right now. I'm not really playing the other side of the market right now. I know you play the futures a little bit more than me.
I just sold a bigger chunk of euro right back at the high of the day. I got distracted. What were we gonna look at? Oh, ARDOR, ARDR. I mean, I'm okay with the back and forth in the comments. It's all right. It's like chirping on the hockey bench. You can't take it too seriously. This coin's been around a little bit. You're back on the weekly lows. Kind of sticks out at 2,000 sats. Weekly cycles coming down. I mean, I like it down here. I think your risk is right below 2,000 sats when you look at it versus BTC. I don't know anything else about this coin though. Oh, Arter.
Yeah, they've been around for a while. They were NXT before, which was like it was like 5 times the size of this one.
They're on the Exodus wallet, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's a coin that'll just explode. All these coins need to be hype based for really to explode.
Just
Have coin.
Just tagged 118 on the euro. I'm gonna sell one last bigger piece here. These are just day trade sales I'm making. Kiwi probably will fail here near the bands. Sell a little bit more of that. I'm still on the other chart. If you look at the bands here, guys, on Kiwi, right here, and then you just tagged 118 on the euro, so I sold a little bit more. I'm okay as long as we're below 118.10. I don't think you're gonna. It's not like you can be worried about a breakout just because you got above the high of this morning. No real risk was in the market anyway. I mean, we got several lower highs here. You got all of this. The market has to get above on the euro.
All right. Want to just call up there then? We went through pretty much everything.
Oh, you could. Santiago, how are you trading it? You sold heavy, euro versus the dollar. Right into 118. Let's see if we can break the 8 here. They might lean on it. I'll start covering what I just sold up there, right here, all the way back into the bands here. Nice topping tail right into the bands.
On Kiwi there.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh boy, before we forget, check in the description too. You guys could follow both of us too. Jason, I know you post a lot of your forex entries and crypto entries, and
yeah, guys. So, I mean, sometimes we get on here to talk crypto, but I mean, we'll trade anything that moves. So, mean, I traded treasuries for 10 years professionally, ran a couple rates desks. So we developed a directional model that whether you're day trading or swing trading or longer term investor, you can apply it to any market. But I just care about where the most opportunity is. So whatever is moving, whatever has energy. We cover some euro back here. We sold right in front of 118. See if we can get a little bit lower. We're actually setting up some Forex signals right now. I'm trying to decide on which provider. There's a couple of them out there that do Forex signals where you can automatically sync them up to an account. It's kind of like managed accounts. But last I looked on a couple of these sites, I mean, I'm in the top 3 as far as performance. A lot of these guys have bots and things that they play games. They don't show their open positions. They don't. They'll have a couple big months. They take a lot of risk for 2 months, and then they claim they have a bot, and they do like 0.5% a month. It's pretty pathetic, but we try to do about 1% a day, my traders, and there's a lot of guys that are at that point. But you'll be able to follow that on myfxbook.com. And we're going to get more aggressive on that going forward. We want to see this. Usually I don't look at these BCIs, but my traders, you guys know, even on the 1 minute here, let's see if we can take that low out. Maybe that marks halfway of the move. I kind of like to get this Kiwi back towards the 8 also. Swarm is tokenizing Coinbase Ripple shares. Whoa, come on. Who's Swarm? They're tokenizing Coinbase.
Oh, really? Yeah, they tokenize assets. So they tokenize any equity. They'll take it and tokenize it so you could trade it and all that.
That sounds like a regulatory nightmare.
Oh, they are. Yeah, representing equity in Coinbase. Man, that's the trade to do.
Euro versus the pound here is popping up too.
Forget trading Binance Coin when you can actually own a part of Coinbase.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That's what they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
They're selling some euro pound here on the core side, a little bit longer term. Every time we get up here, guys, we make some sales on the euro versus the pound. Makes sense. We covered stuff earlier in the week down here. We sold a little bit, covered some earlier today, started reshorting again. Is that a fad? Has anybody else been trying to talk about that?
Okay, so what they're doing, I'm reading it right now. I think it just came out. So they're offering a Ripple token representing equity in Ripple, the company. So that's the trade to do. I don't understand why anyone would trade XRP, especially I don't understand that, let alone when you have the option to actually represent equity in the company itself. That's what I've been saying. Whenever they go an IPO, that's the trade, not owning XRP, which someday will be used. But
it's a good trade to short it at $3.
No kidding.
What was the market cap then when it was at 3?
I don't know, close to 7, 8. Okay.
Got a cease and desist from Coinbase.
We all love XRP. Yeah, we love to hate on it.
You down with XRP? Yeah, you know me. Come on, Euro. Come off a little bit more. Dragon's coming back here a little bit.
Oh man, and Robinhood too, they're doing. There you go, Jason. How much education?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that's kind of a subjective question. I mean, I'll just tell you if you're new to trading, or I mean, I've worked with hedge fund guys that had 20 years more experience trading than I did, but I didn't claim to be like a relative value guy. Or there's lots of traders that have different trading styles, but I can just tell you that what I discovered was why it's so significant. It's not rocket science, but there's a lot of work going into figuring out the timing of trading. And so when you start to understand the cyclicality of markets, and how you work both your size and understanding time, your consistency goes way up. So the reason I would work with the head 10-year trader at Deutsche or the head swaps trader at Citi is because I helped them with the timing piece. And so it doesn't matter if it's a 5-minute chart or a weekly chart and you're trading 50 basis points on the yield curve. It's all the same thing. You can't just trade price. You have to get the time component. It's time and price. It's space and time. So if you're new to trading, I mean, you could spend, I think it'll take most traders 5 years by themselves if they ever get consistently profitable. And 90% of them will never get there. So it's, education is kind of, nothing's for free. I mean, you could go at your own. It'll probably take you a lot longer, or you can come in and make all the same, instead of making all the same mistakes and losing a bunch of money and then trying to learn from it. Usually you'll make the same mistakes over and over again. You don't even realize what you're doing wrong. I have a whole model that I teach, and it's the same model we do institutionally, but
it's the same model used for crypto too.
Yeah, it's the same. So the same stuff we use institutionally, we just brought the model independently. So I work with traders individually, but if you go to jenkinsrm.com, that's my last name, right? RM's risk management, jenkinsrm.com. There's a chat room here that you can join for free. And then if you come in here, as far as we're talking about education, this is our crypto room, but this is the trading course that it's 9 hours of everything, 10 years trading professionally, institutional, traded 50, 60 billion a year, covered all the big banks. So the same stuff I use every day to pull money out of the markets. I mean, I haven't had a job or a paycheck for 10 years, just pulling money, everything just on demand out of the market. And that's all in that course. So for $2,000, I think that's doesn't get much. That's a great value. The amount of money I've lost in this game early on, the accounts that I've blown up, just the amount of money I spend to get my Series 7 is more than that. So this will teach you actually how to trade. It doesn't teach you you could go buy an options course and learn what options are. It's not going to teach you how to time the market. It's not going to teach you how to make money. It's not going to teach you how to scale into position, how to flip, go the other way. We get into analysis, we get into execution, we get into risk management. You got to put it all together. You can have the best technician in the world show you, oh, this is a pennant formation. When this happens, this breaks. This is a bull flag. Look at this RSI when it gets down here. You got to know how to work a position. You need to know how to You need to know how to execute. You need to know when to get aggressive. You need to know how to scale out. You need to know how to trail out. You need to know how to stick to a trading plan. What's your max loss per day? What's your max loss per week? What's your max loss per month? And then we get into the psychology of trading. And that's what I work with. We probably spend most of my week is working with my guys on the team is we're talking about our psychology of trading. It's trading is 90% psychological. So we do that in the coaching sessions. That's down there also. I'm watching this 15-minute cycle now in the euro. I'm going to cover a little bit more euro versus the dollar. And then as far as how much money, HYM, well, hold on a second.
You probably got some examples, don't you?
Yeah, hold on a second. I'm covering a little bit here. So kind of while we were sitting here, I've almost pulled $1,000 out. Which signals are you talking about? Are we talking about on the Forex side? If we're talking on the Forex side, so anybody that's my coaching client, we trade together 2 times a day. So obviously you're going to be taking the same trades just like I did right now. And so while we're looking at crypto, I mean, you can see, guys, it's not, I mean, I've been trading for a long time, a lot of hours in front of the screens. I mean, I used to trade London and Tokyo and work big institutional money. So it's just, there's a lot of time that goes in front of the screens. But while we're talking about crypto, I don't have to sit here and agonize over whether or not I should sell the euro. It's just based on when I know the cycle's high and I know where we are in the trend. You just execute. You don't have to think. You don't have to let the ego get involved. You want to get to where you are in your trading, where it's you get in the zone and it's just a process. It's not looking at the TV. It's not trying to listen to this person on YouTube, trying to follow all these different things, and you're all over the place. It's about moving the ego aside and having a model and a process that you can execute on consistently. And there's times where, yeah, you might have to think about, how much I want to put into a trade relative to my portfolio and stuff like that. But as far as being confused on, is this a buy, is this a sell? I mean, we can get you to the point where it's, exactly where the trend is, exactly where the cycle is. And then, okay, based on that analysis, this is okay. Now I figure out how much I want to sell, and you learn how to work into the position. That's called the art of the size. So I was selling up here heavier, sold pretty much right near the high right there. And then we're coming out of some bidding below the market on the 1 minute, fading here. I'm going to be covering if we can get a little bit lower on Kiwi, and then see if we can get back to the lows. But so for our coaching guys, I mean, I signal, we only trade a couple hours a day together, a couple times a week. But for my guys, anybody that buys the training program, you're kind of part of the family, or if you're part of the coaching group. So if I'm up at 3 a.m. and I'm like, I say, okay, there's a lot of opportunity here on Dragon, or I'm shorting Bitcoin, I put that out to my group. So you get a real-time alert on that. We have a $99 product that's just crypto, and that's signaling all the time based on the model and what I'm doing. But as far as the Forex signals, that's just, I don't have a room that's $100 per month for that. What I want to do is we're gonna hook up to where it's automatic, so you can put your brokerage account to our Forex stuff, and anything I'm doing, it'll automatically execute via your account. The technology is not there in crypto yet. Who sold the euro up there? Santiago, did you sell it? You sold it both fists, you said. Those are nice sales. I want to see if we can get a little bit more follow through. Our 15-minute cycle hasn't rotated back down just yet. 5 minutes. We got to break the 8 right here. See if the 15-minute will crack. See the 15-minute cycle. The cycle, guys, doesn't really matter that much right after the event. But now that we're, an hour and a half almost past, the cycle turned up here. We're still kind of coming up. So we may not get this to come off until we cycle out there.
20,000 WAN chain. That's, man. That chart's looking good too. Almost all the way back down to its lows.
Yeah, HYF, that was probably I don't know if I explained that well. If you come into the chat room or you're in our chat, you can just message me. I'll help figure out where you fit in. But wherever we can have you guys on the team, I have a lot of traders. I know for me personally, I didn't want to just follow somebody for, we don't want to teach people how to fish. We just don't want to give them fish all the time. And you don't want to just be focused on crypto. And there's a lot of guys like that. They made money in bull markets and stocks and during the .com, and then they couldn't make a living because they went somewhere else, or they were in the bond pits and then they couldn't make the transition to trading the screens. You want to learn a skill set, and then you have that for the rest of your life, and you can take it into any market. You don't need me. You know how to read the market, how to trade, and then there's so much opportunity. Any day the market's open, you have anywhere in the world, you have an internet connection, you have the opportunity to make money. And that's something that doesn't exist in a lot of professions. So that's the goal. I got serious traders that want to do this full time. They obviously pay the $3,500. It's a small price to pay. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars to learn from experienced traders, and it's paid off tenfold easily. You kind of gotta think about what it's worth to you and what you value yourself at. I knew if I paid 10 grand and I wanted to be a trader, that I'd figure it out over 20 years. And I knew I could be able to pull much more than that out of the markets from that amount of education. And you got to still work at it. But that training, there's nothing else like it, guys. It's going to it'll get you up to speed to where you know how to risk manage positions. You'll know how to directionally trade. And a lot of traders they suck at trading directionally. They really do. I'm going to cover some euro versus the pound too. Yeah. Well, right, Dan. Yeah, it's not simple. Trading is simple. It's not easy though. It's one of the hardest. I think it's one of the hardest activities on the planet, to be honest, because it's psychologically, it's completely backwards than what we kind of experience as humans growing up. It's completely the opposite. It's such a mental, and there's a lot of discipline obviously involved, but the key is to take the ego out of the equation. I bet you if you listen to anybody that talks about trading crypto, and none of them talk about the psychology of trading. They're all talking about this indicator, this thing rolled over, this, that, and the other. It's all price based. But ask them how they're going to play it. They don't have an answer. Like they don't tell you, well, if this breaks, I'm going to cover half of my short, or I'm going to actually stop on my long. I'm going to wait for this to happen. I'm going to cut 80% of my risk, or I'm going to scale in from here to here to here. If I'm wrong, okay, this is where I'm wrong. I'm going to flip and take 20% more of what I just had in my position and go long. And I'm going to look to add if this happens. Dragon, I'm just kind of waiting to see if Dragon's going to make a move. Kind of looks like it wants to go higher. Sorry, Alec, you said want to. What's the symbol on that one?
To be, and now he's just talking about he's been buying and selling it. And he said he's an investor. But I don't think there's too big of a difference. Well, the way we trade at least is around a core position. So we do invest and we pick those fundamental projects we like on chain, and we trade that around while keeping that core investment position the entire time. Bitcoin, I'm never going to go completely out of Bitcoin, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to add and reduce to my position.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I sit through, downtrends?
Right. Or maybe you cut a big position. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could get flat, but you won't be flat for very long. I like the lows down here. Not as much as I like that color. I like this low. But we're still making lower lows on the intermediate term. So this is a contrarian long, but I like buying down here. Get back above the 8, turn the intermediate term up, take some off, we trade back into these highs. Cycle's low. I mean, there's so much in the market right now that's a buy. The cycles are low. Back to big picture levels of support. Yeah, so the trading course versus the live webinar. So with the coaching, you get the trading course. So my philosophy is like, if I'm trying to work with someone and spend my time teaching this trader, I mean, I've trained several guys to how to trade the bond market, guys that came in that didn't know anything about trading, never traded stocks or anything. They're brand new to Wall Street. And then I've taken guys and taught them that were equity traders to how to trade bonds, which you have to teach them in totally different language, right? Bonds trade in inverse to prices trade inverse to the price of or the yield. They're trading 30 seconds. It's totally different language. But the point is that I can't teach you the model unless I give you the entire background or the origins of the model. So in other words, the coaching clients, they get the course and they're paying for the live sessions. It's not that much more. So if you just do the trading course, it's $2,000. You can do it on your own. It's on demand. There's Alec, like 300 hours of video.
Oh, it's much more than that.
So you can, it's better than learning from a book. It's better than trying to learn through osmosis via the YouTube or anything. I mean, I've followed lots of guys and over my career and read lots of books, and that's good. But the course is amazing because it's going to take you through. I try to put it all together of how I think about trading, the model, why even more in depth, like why do we do what we do on execution, or why does a cycle work? And I talk about the energy, the physics, thermodynamics, understanding, the relationship between time and price, and not just markets, but all different kinds of fields, fractals. You talk about the misbehavior of markets and how you want to measure and map chaos theory. So that's all the course. You get through all those videos, and then, so if you sign up for the coaching, you're going to get that, and that's going to be kind of the fundamentals. So you're just like, okay, I know what he's talking about. And then when you come into the live session, I'm not spending the time with the traders there. I mean, the market's moving. We have a team of probably 40. It kind of fluctuates. Some traders, they kind of outgrow me because they learn my stuff, and then they're successful. They're off doing other things. I've got traders who've been with me several years in that room, and then we have new traders coming in. But so when we're in that live session, I'm not trying to spend time talking about what's a bullish engulfing setup or a bottoming tail or why the hell do cycles matter in trading. All that stuff's in the course, so that when you get through the videos and you come into the coaching sessions and we're trading live, it's about, okay, where's the opportunity in the market? And we want to spend our time there. But then while we're inside of trades and while we've got risk on, there's things that come up. It's like, all right, so you guys, here's a BCI in the model, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because you've watched the videos. So I wanted the two to be, I didn't want to waste people's time with coaching, trying to teach people the model. So you can, if it's only $1,500 more to get into the live setting. And that's our tight team. I mean, if you want to join my team, I mean, you can message me. I have my attention. I want to help you. I mean, you had the same goal that I had, was to be free and not have to sit in a cubicle and do the 9 to 5 shit. I've been there. So, man, that might be the longest winded answer to any simple question I've ever had. Trading equal following whale strategies. A little bit of clarification. Pretty good covers here on the euro. Which chart do I have out? It looks like we're going to try to push 118 again. The 15-minute cycle hasn't rolled over. Santiago, did you get any back on the 1 minute? He's in part of our trading team. So pretty good covers here. I was just doing it with the 5-minute cycle. And now probably going to retest. Now, the fact that we made a higher low here, there's some risk that we're going to run the stops above 118. So I'm gonna resell just a little bit here, but then I'm actually going to wait, guys, to see if the market tries to push and run the stops above 118 because we made this higher low. And then I'm going to short more, but I'm going to wait for like this zone right up here. A little bit higher. You guys see that? It's just little subtle things like that. I mean, I can't really talk about it it doesn't really pop in my mind unless we're in a live setting. But the market does this, you get to a high, you pull back, you make a higher low. The odds are now that we can make a higher high or a higher probability because we just came off that higher low on the 1 minute. And because we sold well the first time up and covered, made a little bit. I mean, it's not a huge amount of movement. But now I don't have to be in such a hurry to resell 118. I like waiting. I guess let the little bit more inexperienced traders get aggressive, get at 118, and I'll look to short as the stops get run up here. I think that's how I'll play it the rest of the afternoon. I mean, I don't really like trading this heavily at 4 o'clock anyway, into the close. You're still core short. Oh yeah, I mean core short for sure. You covered on the 5 minute. All right, nice, buddy. Nice. What was I gonna say? So anyway, guys, I mean, I don't spend a whole lot of time talking about like trying to prove stuff. I mean, made a couple more bucks here just while we're talking. But as far as learning the model and stuff, you're consistent. I've taught a lot of traders, and I'm telling you, when you learn the cyclical components and you know how to put your size and you put the two together, and then you start getting some of the simple habits to change in your psychology of trading, then you can really see that breakout in your equity curve. I mean, I'll have days where I don't have any losing days in a month. We've had, my guys know, we have streaks where maybe only have like 2 losing days in the room. And that's when we used to trade every day together. I mean, I've never seen anybody that does a trading room that most people don't even make calls, let alone have that level of consistency. But it's not about, I don't say that to talk about me. I just want you guys to know that if you join our team, I'm going to show you the best way to trade consistently. And you got to get the timepiece down, and you got to learn how to work your size. And, I mean, I think it kind of speaks for itself. I mean, that's kind of why we're doing the MyFX book, so let the results speak for themselves. But I mean, we've got some results from some of the guys in our team.
Yeah, Brian, we went with the headline meant. We were kind of talking about the first part. We were talking about Bitcoin and how it was, the recent price action really is really just recent action. It's not really indicative of what's going to happen. We're just talking about how small the space is, and people don't realize they're just trying to put a target at, I don't know, break 6, it's going to go to here. No sort of risk management or how long it's going to be down there.
Yeah. So guys, I mean, this is some of my traders. 8,500 this month. He trades a lot of futures. 10 grand this month. This is an $8,000 day. We got lots of examples like this. The consistency. I mean, look at this. This is a trader that just starts on the model. He's not trading huge size. These are 10,000 lots, are tiny. Anyway, you guys get the point.
Yeah, we use Coinigy most of the time, or TradingView. Both you can use APIs, right?
What's the question?
Oh, what platforms do you use? I know you use Coinigy a lot, right?
Yeah. Coinigy's been pretty good I mean, they've collected a lot of data. Like, they're just kind of, there's not a lot of good stuff out there on crypto, to be honest. I mean, I had Bloomberg in the office, and they didn't have a single crypto chart. This was back in November. They didn't have anything in crypto. And that, Bloomberg, the big institutional platform. But if you're just looking for charting, I mean, I guess TradingView's, I just use Coinigy because I don't have to. They've got a lot of the different exchanges and the most data. I mean, if we're talking about brokers or exchanges, I mean, there's lots of different ones. I mean, we don't spend that much time worrying about that stuff. That stuff's not going to make you a good trader. I mean, Binance we like, Bittrex. Quadra CX to trade out of Canada. So it looks like we're going to try to push 118 here. Oops. Yeah, I use APIs. But the thing, when you use APIs, guys on Coinigy, you just want to make sure you get filled. Sometimes there's like a lag. So yeah, I'll still go log into Bittrex just to make sure I got executed, because it's not always really smooth. I mean, I don't even think you can link Binance to Coinigy yet. Like, I don't understand why not. But you don't want to get lazy. You know, you got to open up a few different exchanges, but the last thing you want is to have orders out there or think you got filled, and then you forget about it 3 days later and the market's down like 30% from where you wanted to sell. I mean, that shit sucks. Bonds are kind of retracing the initial move down too. I thought just listening right after the Fed, like they took down their guidance, to me that was more dovish, and everybody said it was hawkish right off the bat. So the fact that now the dollar came back off, I don't know. I don't really look into it that much because it's almost like the initial reaction always changes anyway. I think Bitcoin's got another shot here near term, kind of flagging, making another lower high. So the 30-minute cycle and futures just turned back down. So I don't want. I mean, I'm really bullish 6,000. I mean, I don't like trying to play any kind of shorts in front of 6. I think that's just crazy. That's like trying to be aggressively long at 20,000. It's just there's so much. This is some of the best levels we've had in a long time. This is a big picture, long-term, big level. So I'm not playing anything short, but if you were just day trading this time frame, this would be a spot where you'd be shorting because the cycle's high and rolling over and you're in a downtrend. So the probability is that we made another lower high here and you're going to move back down near term. I actually wanted to buy in front of 6, so 61.35 was the low. I'll probably bid right in front of that, maybe like 61.50 or something into this evening, and maybe put another bid down at. I like to step right in front of the big hole numbers. So I'm trying to start to scale in on futures, and my plan is to do it all the way back to 5,000. And then that's where my risk is. So I'm playing, I like to play the futures more intermediate term, and then my longer term stuff I do in the cash market, put that on the ledger, etc. There's still a chance here on the euro big picture that we cycle up with the weekly. We talked about, my traders, our team, we talked about we're in this 117 to the highs from last week. This is the intermediate term range we're in. If we take out the high of it, then we're probably going to push towards 120. And then we want to be aggressively back core short. I mean, we are core short, but I'm not aggressively core short. I want to be aggressive back up here, right where we sold pretty good last time up here. We'll see. I mean, I'm not opposed to selling. I'll be selling into a test of that. I'm just saying if you get a daily close above there, then that leaves the door open for a push a little bit higher. So you got to be a little bit patient to reshort any bigger size. And then on the downside, we keep kind of holding this zone. So the market's trying to decide, the dollar's trying to decide. We got another little intermediate term move up with the weekly cycle, or see, the weekly cycle's got room to come back up. It's the weekly cycle's telling you the same area.
All right, I gotta hop out here.
All right, Galk, I think I'll probably jump too.
All right, give us both a follow, guys, in the description, because our schedules are all pretty messed up. We're always pretty busy, so we're not always on the same time. So
yeah, if you subscribe, then that's probably help you know.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's so much easier.
I'm not the best at that. But obviously it helps our social stuff too. Yeah, if you guys are interested in joining the team, or trading's your thing, or you're just learning, you wanna learn a really good edge. I mean, that's kind of what we do. So we're pretty good directionally. Just you can message us in the chat room, or just pull the trigger and invest in yourself, and come join us. We had a great month. I'm not going to bring it up, but we did like 22 grand last month just on a $50,000 account type of performance for guys. So anyway, all right, guys, enjoy the rest of your trading day. For those on the team, we'll see you guys in the morning.
All right, till next time, guys.
All right, Alec, thanks. Later, buddy.